Welcome to Trial Exam Part 1. I will be going through the trial exam and explaining how to work out the answers for them. Now, first of all, how do you prepare for the final exam, by the way? Go through all of the lectures. That's in views. There's the lectures, all of the lectures, and then you can also look at the video clips and workshops. Even go through some of the workshops that you think you couldn't get right, and you can try and work out the answers again, right? And another item that you could look at is within the lectures there's a midterm test. Midterm test is also a good practice because there's multiple choice questions that are similar to that in the final exam. Okay, now let's look at the trial exam, the final exam will look something like this. It says 2 hours, but in the final exam you'll have an extra 10-minute reading time at the beginning, and I strongly recommend that you spend your time wisely, especially the reading time. 10 minutes reading time is not for you to just look around and smile at each other, because you're not supposed to look at each other. Remember the academic misconduct you may get. So don't even have any sign languages or look at each other. Just look at the paper and skim read over the multiple choice and short answer question, but read the long answer question thoroughly and plan an answer in your head. Okay, because that will be the more involved one, where you have to think about how to work out the solution, not just writing the Java code. So you have to plan a solution. So use that 10 minutes reading time wisely, and then the next 2 hours, which is 120 minutes, I recommend maybe dividing 45 minutes into part A, multiple choice. You might think, oh, it's only 1 mark, but that 1 mark, because the whole exam is out of 50, that 1 mark is worth just over 2.5 minutes, just under 2.5 minutes of your time. So you do spend about that much time in the exam. Okay, if you look at the total marks and the number of minutes given, that's what roughly it works out. So 45 minutes, and part B you can give 65 minutes and leave out last 10 minutes to go over all the answers where you might find mistakes again. So this last 10 minutes is also important. Please time yourself wisely. The goal is not to rush and see how fast you can finish the exam. It's how much you can get. See what's the best mark you can get. So please do sit in the exam, even though it hurts for you to sit for 2 hours. But think of it, your classes are 2 hours. You sit for 2 hours. So you can do 2 hours there in the exam. Do not strongly recommend, I strongly recommend don't leave the exam early. Because you might think, oh, I don't know the answer, but if you sit there, it might come to you. Okay, now let's look at the questions. Question 1. Programming errors that are picked up by the compiler are called. How do you work out these kind of answers? Now, either you know the answer and you can just spot it and circle it, or you need to read all the answers. It's always the case with multiple choice. If you know the answer, you don't even have to read the other answers. But if it says what is the best answer, you might have to read all of them, because you might know the correct answer, but maybe another answer is also correct, and it might be all of the above. So you better read all the answers in that case. But in this situation here, programming errors that are picked up by the compiler are called syntax errors. That's the one that you get a error. You can't go any further if you have any syntax errors. And then once you get rid of all your syntax errors, like semicolon missing or variable not declared, all those things, once you fix them all up and you try to run it, if you get errors, next one is called runtime errors. Runtime errors come because of anything like reading past the arrays you may have done, like the array indices go from 0 to 5, say, and you're going to access a 6th location and it's not there. Or dividing by 0 is a common runtime error as well. That was in the project, some of you have done that error. So these are runtime errors. This come up with a window with red lines, red text that tells you the error and the line number, so it's easy to find the error. And same thing with the syntax error, it actually tells you where the error is. But the hardest of all is the logical errors, where the programmer makes in the logic of the program, where they could be doing something in the wrong place, maybe the condition's wrong, so the computer will not tell you where the error is. Okay, so you have to find it, so that's the most difficult one. So the answer is syntax errors. And the next one, variables are symbolic names made up by programmer that represent locations in the computer's RAM. Okay, that's an easy one. And let's look at the other answers. So that's the answer. The other answers are reserved words. Reserved words are things like if, while, private, boolean, all those. Okay, so they are not variables. In fact, reserved words cannot be used as variable names. Symbolic names made up by programmer whose values cannot be changed. This is a definition of a constant. Constant is what cannot be changed, whereas variable can be changed. Operators that perform operations on one or more operands. This is, if it's mathematical operators, plus, minus, modulus, and all those, okay, that you operate on operands. Okay, so that's an easy one. So it's obviously not that one. Now, number 3, this is a bit of a tricky one. Okay, if you don't read it very carefully, you would answer the question as B, because the quick brown fox jumped over there. Can you see here that this is the escape sequence where you put in for new line, so it'll go to the next line and then slow moving hen. But notice what is missing. What's missing here is the plus. Whenever you separate strings with variables or strings with other strings, you must put a plus sign here in between. So that's missing here, and that will come as a syntax error. So there it is. This will cause a compilation error. So there is no output. Okay, number 3, the answer is this.